Good evening. Phil Lindemann with your Krystal 93 News from Luna Lending. This October has been the warmest in over 7 decades. Average high temp here in Dillon this month has been 60 degrees. That's 4 to 5 degrees warmer than the past 112 years. You've got to go all the way back to 1950 for a comparable hot streak when the average high was 66. But is there any correlation between a warm October and a low snow season? Let's go back to 1950, that hottest October on record. That season, the National Weather Service station in Dillon reported 192 inches. That's more than 27 feet, October through April. 192 is above average for Dillon. But the snow was late that season, only 43 inches October through December, before the skies unloaded with 39 inches in January, 42 inches in February. Cops were called on Summit School Board President Consuelo Redhorse last night when she was denied entry to an election event in Dillon. We talked to people on both sides. Redhorse tells us she assumed the event was open and RSVP'd. When she was told to leave, she felt excluded. Event organizer and board candidate Jennifer Gonzalez says the event was private and Redhorse was making people uncomfortable. But Gonzalez did not call the cops. An event volunteer made the call. No tickets were written, no arrests were made. Earlier this year, Summit School Board clashed with parents over gay and lesbian representation in the classroom. First-time candidate Jennifer Gonzalez was there at that meeting.
There might be some other things that we don't know if they're hiding things. So what else? That's when you lose trust in communication.
Incumbent candidate Consuelo Redhorse remembers those meetings well.
I stand firmly behind the importance of students being able to see themselves in the curriculum and having the support that they need to become strong people.
Returning candidate Danielle Surrett believes this curriculum is not about representation.
It's always injected with a political spin. There's always something planted in there, like an ulterior motive.
Incumbent board member Julie Shapiro stands by her decision to adopt and defend the curriculum.
I'm really proud to be a parent in Summit School District, and I'm proud of what my students doing and what her school is doing.
Elections are November 7th. 8 candidates are running to fill 4 seats. That's the majority of the board. This week on the State of Summit.
Do I qualify? And maybe. That depends. Let's take a look. What deed restriction are you looking at?
That is the number one question locals have when trying to buy a deed-restricted home here in Summit. We recently sat down with Jason Dietz of Summit County Government and Lori Best with Town of Breck to answer more questions about the complicated world of affordable housing. First up, what does every deed restriction share?
The town, the county, they have different projects, targeting different income levels.
And almost everyone is going to have a requirement that it be occupied by somebody working locally.
Does a deed restriction ever expire?
No, it is in perpetuity. That's the whole goal, is to make sure that that unit continues to serve the local workforce.
How much value can a property gain? And why is it limited?
All of our new deed restrictions are 2%, so $2,000 per 100,000 of value. So it's really easy to figure out, and then it's not influenced by big changes in AMI.
But that 2% is not the case with every property. There are thousands of them countywide, and some caps were once based on AMI, area median income.
Tying it to AMI, we would just end up with all sorts of swings that didn't make any sense.
But AMI itself is a questionable metric.
In calculating the AMI, they sort of throw out a lot of unrelated households, and that's where maybe our lower income folks live.
Why then is it still the baseline for approval?
AMI is the standard, and primarily because of all of the federal programs and state programs for affordable housing.
Will this ever change?
Everyone that works within affordable housing and even middle income housing, they understand that language.
Tune in again next week for the State of Summit on Krystal 93. Local fire danger is low today, still with no fire restrictions. And in local sports, Summit High Volleyball's on the road to Buena Vista today. Phil Lindemann, Krystal 93 News.